Hello, dear viewers. Welcome back to Let's Play Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. I mentioned in a previous video that I had a character going on another machine that was pretty fun, and this is Granite Grant. He's my Gargoyle monk with whom I've had some pretty good success. As for where we are in the game, we have gotten to the bottom level of the swamps. We've cleared out the lair. We haven't grabbed the rune from the swamps yet. We're a few levels into Snake and Elf. We've cleared out Orc. And we're almost to the bottom of the dungeon. We're not quite ready for the vaults or the depths yet. Stuff that we have. We are pretty well set up here. We have a few really good artifacts here. This ring of the ring is not as good as it looks. The resist electricity and resist poison are superfluous. We are immune to poison and already resistant to electricity as a gargoyle, so it's not quite as awesome as it seems at first glance. But wizardry resist cold is still quite good. Not complaining. Gloves resist cold. We also have gloves that give us a bonus to strength. I believe they're +1 gloves. We have some leather armor, which is pretty reasonable. We found a few other intriguing things, but I haven't gone for this ring mail. I think resist fire is generally more important than resist magic. Yeah, we already have some resist magic, just naturally, I believe. No, we have a cloak of magic resistance and then some natural magic resistance. We have a flail that we've dumped a lot of. I think we've dumped several scrolls into. Maybe it was already a high enchantment level, and we just test read some scrolls and buffed it up a little bit more. I honestly don't recall, but regardless, +8/+4. So with our here are our skills: maces and flails at 14. That's as high as it needs to be to reach minimum delay on a flail. Anything beyond that, of course, increases its accuracy and damage, but doesn't provide nearly as much of a benefit per level, or per 2 levels, rather. Fighting's at 13. We're going to keep that on basically the entire game because gargoyles are kind of low on hit points. We have armor and dodging both at level 10, which is pretty reasonable until I find an armor a good artifact armor that I for sure want to go with. I'm going to wait to increase either of these. They're both fine for now. Shields are at 5, so we can use a buckler without any penalty, and we have a decent chunk into various spellcasting skills. A little bit into invocations because we are following Chebriados, and that's good enough to get our step from time to 30%. I don't anticipate needing this anytime soon. So while 30% failure rate is not awesome, in fact it's pretty terrible for an important escape mechanism, we don't really need to use it as an escape mechanism yet. If we get to the point where we need to use this, shame on us. It's been bad. We have a number of spells that we can cast reliably. The only one we can't cast that we have memorized is deflect missiles, and it'll take a little while. We have a good offensive spell in Iron Shot, which we have good affinities for Conjuration and Earth, so that didn't take very long to get to the point where it's usable, and our spell power is quite high on all of our spells because, again, Chebriados is awesome and is giving us 15 additional intelligence. I think we have a few. No, we actually don't have any intelligence increasing items. So yeah, that's just our natural intelligence plus the Chebriados bonus. I think we've gotten lucky with every 4 levels, Gargoyle gets either a point of strength or a point of intelligence, and I believe we've gotten fairly lucky with those. I don't think we've had to. Yeah, I don't think we've gotten any points into strength for those. I think every point has been into intelligence, so that's really nice. That makes our spells really strong, even with relatively low spell levels. That's why you see these, like and our spell casting isn't great either. That's why you see these spells have a huge hunger cost at level 6. Although we did manage to eliminate hunger cost for level 5. And the Ring of Wizardry that we have is helping out a lot. It doesn't reduce hunger cost, but it does let us cast spells more reliably. So we've got spellcasting turned on. We don't have a great affinity for it, but that's fine. Whatever. It's still necessary and important. Conjurations, just because we will want conjurations to be on for most of the rest of the game. We do eventually want to be able to cast the big boom boom spells. Charms are reasonable. Summonings, we actually found the Grand Grimoire, which, let's see. Where is it here? Yeah, the Grand Grimoire. Let's check it out. It's pretty cool. We have only memorized Aura of Abjuration from it currently because, well, we're not that high level yet. But eventually I will probably memorize Forceful Dismissal, and I will probably memorize Summon Horrible Things, although I'm not as sure about that. I do want to be able to summon dragons, but that is only in the Book of Dragons. Go figure. Haunt is not nearly as good as it used to be. It used to be super, super powerful. It used to be that it would just... I forget what it would do, but it would give you some minor penalty when you cast it, and it was a pretty easy workaround. I forget exactly how one went about it, or what the penalty was even, because now all it does is when you cast it, it drains your life as a penalty, which we definitely don't want to have happen to us. Our life points, our health points are very important to us. And so it's not as useful as it used to be, but we still may memorize it because it is a smite targeted summoning spell. So you can summon something at or around something else's, some monster's location. So if something's hiding behind a wall of things, if there's an ancient lich behind a bunch of dragons that are beating you up, you can haunt them and they'll take care of that for you. They're also good for dealing with mummies, because if one of your summoned creatures kills a mummy, it eats the death curse instead of you, making the tomb much easier, and being able to haunt something and have it guarantee take it down is really nice. So we may memorize that at some point, but that's a little bit on down the line, because we have currently we have memorized shadow creatures, which I really like. It's kind of a roll of the dice. Like, you shouldn't use it as an emergency spell or an escape button. It summons between 1 and a pack, so between 1 and 8 I've found, ish, creatures that would normally populate whatever level you're on. So here, for example, it would summon maybe a spiny frog if we're lucky, or a bunch of jackals if we're not. In the Orcish Mines, it'll summon orcs. Occasionally you'll get an orc priest or some ogres, etc., etc. It's pretty good. It's just really nice to have a summon spell. I have warmed up to summoning quite a bit playing this character, actually. I still don't like the summoner background. I think it's very weak. I think the initial summoning book is pretty bad. Summon Small Mammal and Summon Canine Familiar are basically useless. I think they're two of the worst spells in the game. I am maybe wrong about that, and they still definitely have their uses, don't get me wrong, I just don't like them. But this Shadow Creatures business is really good. And having points in summoning also means that the Aura of Abjuration is very easily castable, and its spell power is high enough that we can reliably get rid of things that are summoned to block our bashing. We have Regeneration memorized because it's just good, and we're raising our charms anyway to get Deflect Missiles reasonably castable. We do have a level in Air Magic, just because the first level, even with the huge penalty that that having levels in Earth Magic gives Air Magic, that additional -4, training up one level of it was still super easy at this point in the game. It took obviously longer than if we weren't gaining experience at half the rate normal, but it's worth it just to make, it's deflect missiles is charms and air magic, so it's the average of the two spell levels essentially, and our charms aptitude isn't awesome either, so um, that's not amazing, but we're not all that concerned about being able to cast it quite yet, and we can always chug a potion of brilliance if we need to. And that'll make it easily castable between the intelligence boost. I think intelligence may not have anything to do with it. I think that's just spell power. But between the wizardry boost, basically, that it gives you, um, and our natural levels, we should be all right. I'm going to continue carrying around this book of power that we have here, because I'm not sure what I want to memorize from it. Bolt of Magma is okay. Um, it's nice because it's a bolt spell, so it travels through enemies instead of a beam spell, which stops with the first enemy it hits. Or, it can miss an enemy and hit an enemy behind it, but it doesn't penetrate through. And it is guaranteed to do some physical damage, even to creatures immune to fire. That being said, I've memorized it with one other character, I believe, and I wasn't too terribly impressed with it. I recall that I didn't have great spell power with it, so that probably has something to do with it. But these 3 school spells are really tough to deal with. I mean, we don't have any points particularly. Yeah, we don't have any points at all in Fire Magic yet. And although we have a neutral aptitude for it, and I probably want to go Fire Magic eventually anyway, I feel like that's kind of spreading ourselves a little bit thin, training up a whole another spell school. We already have a number, 1, 2, 3 spell schools that are at or around level 10. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 schools that are at or around level 10 total. Almost 9 if you count invocations. And that's getting pretty thin. Granted, we don't level too slowly as a gargoyle. In fact, I don't believe we have any leveling penalty at all. Yeah, 0. So it's not as good as humans, halflings, or kobolds, but it's better than most of the other races. There are only a few others that have a 0 aptitude, and they're generally a lot more dangerous. I think merfolk is the other. Merfolk and hill orcs are the other sort of comparable. Maybe nagas. I don't know. I feel like octopodes should level faster. They're just super hard to play. But I don't know. Maybe not. I'm certainly not one of the greatest crawlers of all time. You can go online and watch people that are better than me play this game live if you wish. So just quick other things. We found some interesting amulets. We had an Amulet of Faith on for a while. We have some evocables, but we don't really want to put points into evocations. This Crystal Ball of Energy is an awesome source of mana eventually, but we would have to put a lot of points into evocations for it to be useful. Okay, so that's the long ramble. I think I'll put a note in here that you can skip to this point of the video. So if you're just now tuning in, because I put a note in the description saying to skip to this point of the video, welcome. We are a gargoyle monk, worshipping Chabritos, casting spells, and hitting things with a flail. So I hope you enjoy. I really like this build. I have tried to recreate it in a couple other characters with mixed success. I believe I have a character on the online version that I have not yet uploaded any videos from him, but I think the video recording size, file size for some reason is much larger. I will see if I can find a way to fix that. A 20-minute video takes something like 7 or 8 hours to upload as opposed to 3 or 4. So yeah, may or may not get to see him. But regardless, Granite Grant is awesome. He's really cool. Quick overview, we have skills, we have spells, and we have abilities from Chabritos. So just pause the video there if you want to see it. I won't bore everybody else any further. Okay, so I think what I want to do is go ahead and grab the rune in the swamp. So let's head down to swamp 3 or so. Yeah, we found a whole bunch of spell books, but our spell casting is it's rising oh so slowly. I really want to try out a Deep Elf one of these days. I think that Deep Elves would be just so much fun to go through nuking everything. Their spell aptitudes are fantastic, but I like the durability of Gargoyles quite a bit. So, here we have a few things of note. We have this Thorn Lotus, which looks easy, but it still can hurt. It just hits you with a bunch of thorns from far off. And we have a Weak Hydra. Neither of them is much of a problem to us, but I don't really like our positioning there, should a fight break out and anything else assault us. This is much better. I am going to go upstairs and eat one of these chocos. One thing I really like about I've played a little bit on the next trunk, the 0.15 online, and I really like some of the things that they're doing with it. Okay, I'm going to stop yapping now because we are facing a Swamp Dragon. If I recall, it's been a little while since I've played this character, but if I recall, we take on Swamp Dragons pretty easily. Yeah, I do want to step out of the water, even though it takes a couple of turns. We are maxed out with Shaperito's Piety. But I think the benefit of being on solid ground is worth it. Oh, we fly. Huh, we're past level 14. We fly, so it actually doesn't matter. I just wasted 2 turns. But it's fine. Iron Shot, yeah, it does just a ton of damage. Blat. I guess I have to kill this Lotus Thorn, don't I? Iron Shot's downside is that it has very, very short range. That is a nice thing about worshipping Vehement as an Earth Mage. Your short-range spells get a lot better. But I think we can petrify it. Oh, it's unaffected. Interesting. Well, we can just march towards it. That doesn't seem awesome. I think let's sort of step back here. Yeah, I really don't think it's going to do enough damage to us to really bother us. We are pretty strong defensively at this point. Oh, that's right. We've been summoning shadow creatures to deal with those things. Yeah. Shadow creatures is a fun spell. I like it. Swamp Dragon Hide is mostly useless. Oh, piffle. I'm still trying to figure out how to inspect stuff on the ground easily. I'm trying to learn all the key commands so that I can play online sort of at will without... Yeah, it gives you poison resistance, so it's pretty darn good for spellcasters who are not gargoyles. Or another, poison resistant / immune race. Ah, Lindworm, that's right. We did come down here, didn't we? And encountered some Lindworms and dragons and stuff. Yeah. So, let's get us some shadow creatures. I kind of want more / better than that. What did we summon? A Thorn Hunter. Okay, well, glad that's on my side. Okay, and we want them to attack the Lindworm. Oh, I see. It was just disguised by that fog. Do we want to step this way? I think we do. I was hoping that Bog Body wouldn't notice us, but alas. Okay, well, that's fine. Cool. I guess our Thorn Hunter summoned a bunch of thorns. That's right, that is what they do. Neat. It killed the Lindworm for us. The downside of using summoning spells is that you don't get full experience for kills with your summons, or the things that are killed by your summons. Doesn't matter how much they weaken them, if you don't get the final blow, that is the determinative factor. Oh, it's just zapping bolts at us. That's obnoxious. We can't. I don't think we can shoot through. Oh, yeah, we can. Neat. Well, that was easier, I think, than I expected it to be. Yeah, we did take out a reasonable number of critters our first venture in here. We are actually quite stealthy, which is nice. My biggest successes thus far have been with big bruisery juggernaut tank types wearing lots of plate mail and crystal plate and gold dragon armor, that sort of thing. Uh, and this is the first. Well, it's not the first spellcaster that I've had that has gotten to this point or become this powerful, but I think it's the best hybrid that I've gotten to this point. I did start off with like fighting in maces and flails and stuff, and I didn't start in on the spell casting until much later. I think it was. I don't remember for sure, but I think it wasn't until level like 9 or 10. This is a little dangerous. Let's get some critters to help us out here. Yeah, the duration of Shadow Creatures is not very long. It's a very interesting spell. I like it a lot as a summoning spell because you don't have to worry about its spell power. It means you're relying a little more on the random number generator, the RNG, to give you cool critters and plentiful critters. But it also means that you can, like, as soon as it's castable, you can just start spamming it. And as long as you have a way to deal with the spell hunger, it's pretty strong. All right, we've got a little Spriggan riding a Firefly on our side, so I think we can. I think we'll be fine. These clouds of poison are completely irrelevant to us, although a cloud of flame from that fire crab down there could be problematic. I don't have blink or anything yet, do I? That's a little frustrating. Phase shift is good. Let's throw on some regeneration. I think that's a reasonable choice. And we can just keep summoning these things. I mean, as long as that fire crab doesn't as long as it doesn't cloud of flame us all the way over here. I don't think it can quite reach us with a cloud of flame. I wouldn't rule it out. We do have a pip of fire resistance from our armor. We don't have another source of it, however. Evocables, we have... Wand of Confusion could be great. I don't know if fire crabs are immune to lava. They are not. Confusing things next to lava is one of the most satisfying ways to kill stuff that is annoying you. I love it. Yeah, I like this character a lot. I think it's a really strong setup. We have sort of long-range harassment between shadow creatures and the numerous wands that we've picked up and petrify. And we have some really strong damage sort of mid-range with Iron Shot. And then we can just hit things over the head with a mace once it gets in range. We're not reliant entirely on our... no. Let's just... Wait a minute. Can we evoke confusion through our... No, we cannot. I guess, yes, I will travel into this travel excluded area. I don't think that Hydras are automatically killed by. I know they're not automatically killed by stepping in deep water. One of the um, one of the viewers that has been watching these videos was kind enough to point that out to me. It was a very good thing to learn. Um, I think it has, in fact, saved my life since. So thank you. I forget which viewer it was, but anyway, I do not believe, however, that they are just super immune to lava. I mean, they may be able to stand in it because they're large, but I don't think that the fire damage is something that they can deal with too readily. But since the wand wasn't really working, we're just going to iron shot it down. The hunger cost for iron shot is pretty large at this point, but that's okay. Let's. Oh, hey. Huh. I didn't even see that the rune was there. I was. Shucks, I was just trying to get some fresh meat, but hey, we found the rune at the bottom of the swamps. Huzzah! Haha. Maybe this. Ooh, another book. Nice. Yeah, this character got some early help, I think, with. I think that ring of dexterity I found relatively early, and the flail of protection I found relatively early. But mostly it's just been a good, steady stream of spellbooks that have really kept me in the money. That and the fact that gargoyles snowball pretty hard. If you can get them past the first few levels where they're kind of weak, I mean, they're just low on hit points. If you can get them up to over 100 hit points. Book of Summonings. I believe that's the original. Oh, no, that's not. This is actually a good book. I like this book. It's very useful, I think. We'll look at that more later. For now, I want to finish exploring the swamp. We don't have the spell levels to memorize any of them immediately anyway, so yeah, we need another level or two in spellcasting. I just really don't want to turn off any of the skills that we're training right now. I think they're all fairly important. We're spread a little thin, just because, 3 of the 4... Oh, no, I guess only half of the skills that we're training are at negative aptitude, but spellcasting trains very slowly anyway. More slowly than other spells, or not spells, other skills. Yeah, we're really strong at this point. We have 13 armor class just from being a gargoyle at level 18. We have the equivalent of plate mail. Better than plate mail if you just count the base armor. And I believe that we still have global damage reduction. Not 100% sure on that. Okay, charm skill is at level 7. Deflect missiles is still super uncastable. I really don't want to raise air magic any further if I can help it. One of the things that I really, really like about the next trunk is that there are no longer cross-training penalties. And instead of, you can see the +4 for staves and axes, like the current system, they just train more rapidly when you turn them on. In the next trunk, you just automatically get a boost to skills that cross-train. Ooh, a potion of beneficial mutation. That's right. We got a couple of beneficial mutations, and then I think we were malmutated a couple of times, and so we had to cure all of our mutations. I seem to recall that being the case. Yeah. Yeah, we are out of potions of cure mutation. Let me just double check. Yeah, Decay, Experience, and Strong Poison are the only potions that we have not yet identified. Javelins, might as well pick those up. We are certainly strong enough to carry them around. That is another thing, by the way, that is being removed in the next trunk is item weight. No longer will Deep Elves be required to put their first 4 points into strength to be able to function in the game. Still probably smart to put some points into strength eventually so you don't get just insta-killed when you experience stat drain. 8-headed Hydra, we want some friends for that. I'm reasonably certain that we can, just take it out with Iron Shot and whatnot, but better safe than sorry. Always, always true in Krull. Well, not always, always true. There's never, I can't think of any 100% hard and fast rules in this game. I've even been experimenting with training non-damaging abilities prior to a weapon skill, for example. I've died a lot doing that, so I can't fully recommend it yet. But I think I'm getting the hang of it. I believe that's what I did with this character, actually, although I found this flail early enough that it was a pretty easy choice. Gargoyles are getting nerfed slightly in the next patch, or in the next trunk. Right now, we have a +1 aptitude for maces, flails, staves, and unarmed combat. In the next trunk, it's a 0 aptitude, which is fine. It's still going to be pretty good. I mean, Gargoyles are not going to stop being awesome because of that. This is a little bit of a risky situation. Let's try and nuke down. Yeah. If those two large slime creatures had combined into a gigantic slime creature or a titanic slime creature, we would have been in a world of hurt. Oh, let's eat this pear. And one of these chocos. It's certainly not necessary for us to stay at full satiation, but I like being able to cast Iron Shot whenever we need to, and you cannot cast spells when you are starving. At least you cannot cast spells that require hunger when you're starving. I'm not sure about spells that no longer cost hunger, but I somewhat doubt that that's the case. Okay, well, that's the final level of the swamps. Sorry you didn't get to see more of it, but I just now had the time to install some recording software on this computer. Okay. That also explains the difference in audio from the other videos, if there is a noticeable difference. I have not gone back and reviewed this video yet. Okay, so we have the snake pits, we have the final level of dungeon, and maybe level 14 as well. I think we're going to go to the vaults. That seems reasonable. Come here, water moccasin. Let us kill you. I wanted to eat it. Yeah, I think we should be fine for the vaults. I really would like to have... God, deflect missiles is just so good. How many spell levels do we have available? 2. I'm a little bit tempted to memorize repel missiles and then just forget it once we have deflect missiles available. I just don't know that that's necessary. Oh, one other reason why I really like the monk background for a Chabriados run is that Blade Hands, if you find it as a spell, is really strong. Incredibly, incredibly strong when you follow Chabriados. Just massive damage. And so having 4 free levels in unarmed combat, or, around 4 levels, depending on your race's aptitudes, like we have not put a single point of experience into unarmed combat. That's just what it starts at. And so if we ever decide to transform, we have an automatic bonus. It's just a little icing on the cake. Might as well keep carrying these wands around. I don't know. Probably should be using them more frequently. Our spells already outclass them. It's just we don't have another bolt type thing yet. We don't have that bolt of magma. Oh, speaking of things, I'm probably going to drop this Book of Summoning for now. I don't envision us needing any of the spells in it on the fly. I don't envision us needing any summoning spells for a while, any additional summoning spells. Although, if I find the Book of Dragons, I'll probably start training it again so I can summon a bunch of dragons, because that seems pretty sweet. Seems pretty awesome. I am going to continue carrying around these gloves that give us a stealth bonus. I may need them for some sneaky situations. It's hard to be stealthy with Chabriados because it takes twice as long to move, to sneak up on something, and so there are twice as many chances for you to be discovered. That being said, a little stealth goes a long way. A lot of stealth doesn't go all that far, but I found this this absurdly cool shield. It just had so many things that were amazing, but it also let you go berserk, which means Chabriados won't let you use it. You can't even wield it. It doesn't even matter that, even if you never used it to go berserk, Chabriados still disapproves of you just wielding it. So that was a big bummer. So yeah, we're stuck with just a regular buckler for now, but that's fine. It gives us 17 shielding because our strength and dexterity are so high. I forget which one influences shields. I think strength. Maybe they both do. I'm not entirely certain, but they're both. 34 and 35. they're great. So even a buckler is providing us with a great deal of defensive capability, blocking many melee attacks and physical ranged attacks. Shields do not block bolt effects, things that penetrate through, which is a little unfortunate sometimes. A lot of things later on have bolts of various sorts, but there are certainly, even in the extended endgame, enough blockable things to make a shield very, very useful. If you are using that's right, this stupid ice statue that I don't want to bother with. They're getting rid of item destruction in a future patch as well, so that's cool. Oh, I suppose we can drink our potion of beneficial mutation. You feel less in control of your magic. A little harder to cast, but a little more powerful. How much is a little harder to cast? About 3%. That is acceptable to me. How much is a little more spell power? A whole extra pip? That's worth it, I think. Yeah. Okay, so that's a very interesting mutation. I haven't seen that one before. Wild magic, I haven't experienced it before. I know what it is. It is the wild magic mutation. Oh, bring it. Ugh, I hate having to step towards ranged creatures. We can use, where is it? Temporal distortion. It basically makes ranged things move next to you. Sort of. Not exactly, but close enough for government work. Okay. Okay. Well, let's hope that we don't get cornered in here. Somewhere on this level is going to be a patch of really nasty monsters guarding the entrance to the depths. I don't even really want to do Dungeon 15 yet. I want to check out the vaults first. We don't have See Invisible. That's a problem. Okay, good. I bet it's an invisible horror. Oh, what a pain. whatever it is, it wasn't really doing us any damage, so... Oh, yak tars. Did I go through with memorizing repel missiles? I should have. Oh well. I think our shield should be sufficient to... Conjuration is at level 10. It doesn't actually make Iron Shot any easier to cast with our crazy wild magic business, but 6% is still acceptable, and it one-shots them, so deal. I'll take it. Yeah, the plus 15 intelligence boost is just so good as a hybrid. I mean, we are making use of all three of our stats right now to great effect. Transmuters probably get the best deal of all. I mean, if you have early access to Blade Hands, you basically just automatically get through the early game. If you can cast Blade Hands before the layer, or by the layer, reliably, and you follow Chabriados, you will slaughter the entire layer. I can reasonably guarantee that. So Etten could be tough, but it wasn't. The Shapeshifter is interesting. Eyes of Devastation are painful, potentially, but they're not bad. We do not yet have resist mutation, so that's not awesome. Fortunately, there aren't that many things that malmutate you until the Realms of Zod. Or, you know, the Abyss, Pandemonium, places with lots of demons. We will not be using plate armor this game. As much as I like being a tank, you can't cast spells in it. Though that, I don't know, is not... You can cast some spells in it, in plate armor, if you have wizardry. At least one source of wizardry. Ow. Good flames. Let's drop our blink scrolls. I don't mind if the others burn. Amnesia would be a little annoying, since we don't have many of those. I think that's the only one we have, actually. Which means I should drop it, too. I'm not concerned about the damage we're taking, particularly. I probably should have Iron Shot them both down earlier than that, but... I can play a little loose this early in the vaults. He got the Word of Recall off. It's hard to bum rush something as a Chabriados person, but not really any harm done as long as we can kill that hill giant. Yep, good. Bum, ba, dum, bum, 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 bum. Let's go a different way. How about it? I don't think we'd die, but I don't see any reason to just charge at that Centaur warrior without a good reason to do so. Yeah, I'm going to be really glad when they finish up with the next trunk version and make it downloadable, because I really do prefer the downloaded version. It runs faster. There's a small lag, at least where I am, on the web tiles. Did I gain a skill level? Something? No. It's just Chabriados approving of me killing really fast mosquitoes. Chabriados, I think, is one of the easier gods to raise piety with once you get past the first couple of pips. That's the other reason why being a monk is extremely good with this build, is because you get to skip the early sort of kind of rough phases of Chabriados, where he's slowing you down enough that you can't run away from things, but he's not granting you enough bonuses to kill the things that you can't run away from. So that sort of, I don't know, purgatory? is a little bit rough. Let's see. Is that better? Maybe. I'm trying to gauge when we should stop attempting to hit things with our mace, except in, you know, a giant orange brain, huh? They're not too scary. They drain intelligence. They're not particularly strong. Glowing shield, huh? How many scrolls of remove curse do we have? 2. No scroll. Oh, 1 scroll of identify, I guess. Oh, right, yeah, on Elf 2, where we found Saint Roca. Gugh. That's why we abandoned that place. Yeah. I think he was just way beyond our capabilities at that point. We hadn't done any of the swamps yet, I don't believe. Have we done 1 or 2 levels of the swamps? We were level 12 or so, I want to say. And we bumped into Saint Roca and just had to... He was flanked, as you saw, by a number of elves. We just didn't have the resources to deal with him. Not enough mana points to cast all the spells we would need to keep things off our back and kill him and stay alive. I don't know. It wasn't a great situation. I'm still a little scared of him. I don't care about the shiny scale mail. Oh, ouch. Well, I was hoping to kill the ranged guy. There we go. Hey, shadow creatures. I forgot that it's awesome in the vaults. The stronger the creatures are where you are... Ugh. Oh, I see. The Iron Troll has might, and that's why. I don't like this situation. We don't have a source of healing that is good enough to deal with that. Okay, good. I think we should be safe now. Phase shift is pretty strong. But let us definitely... we don't have enough magic to cast Iron Bolt. Okay. I mean, he can kill us in 1 hit. That's the really scary thing. Okay, good. We survived. Have we found a troll hide? Yeah, we have. We have a couple of them lying around. Troll hides are a very reasonable thing to use. Very reasonable caster armor. It's the same encumbrance rating 4 as leather armor, while granting an additional base armor class. Bye, Boulder Beetle. See you in a little while. It gives you 1 more armor class, which is increased further by having a good armor skill, which is really nice. And it provides you with some regenerative effects. There's the formula for regeneration is rather complicated. But as with many things in this game, the first few points you get in it, the first few sources of it you find, are much better than later sources. It suffers from diminishing returns, in other words. Ah, level 19. Cool. I mean, nothing too special for reaching level 19, but that's fine. We got 6 additional hit points and an extra mana point or 2, something like that. We're actually taking a lot of damage from these things. I'm not sure why. Our armor class is good. It's not the best. What about this shield? Oh, a shield of protection. That's really good. 3 extra armor class, 11 extra shielding. The problem is, I really don't want to put more points into shields right now. It would take an additional 10 levels to get up to the point where we were not suffering a spellcasting penalty for wearing a regularly sized shield. And that's just too much experience. We have too many other things that we're doing to be concerned with that. So yeah, I think we're gonna stick with this buckler. Or I mean, certainly if we find a better buckler, we're marked. That's kind of rough. I guess being in this room is better than being outside of it. The mark is what is a relatively new feature to crawl, and it's kind of cool. I mean, it's certainly very bad if you get it, but I think it's a neat. How's deflect missiles coming along? Still awful. Okay, well, it's obviously going to take a while. I may have to let's just try this. I know we're super penalized for it, but maybe even focus it. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get phase shift going. Let's get some shadow creatures going. Phase shift is just an additional... Ooh, a lich. Nice. Phase shift gives you a boost to your evasion for a little while. It's good. It's strong. It's giving us, what, 7 or 8 evasion, something like that? Anyway, what Mark does is it alerts everything on the level to where you are. It's like giving them all a GPS code. Get some more stuff. Yeah, I really am considering memorizing that bolt of magma. It's resistant to cold. What if we did this? It's not gonna go through, I don't think. I'm trying to conserve mana here. And not spam too many iron shots. The iron shots are for the polearm wielders. Things that I can't reliably chase down, essentially. Ugh. Poison, yeah, okay. Oh, we're starving, jeez. We don't have a potion of porridge, do we? That's really rough. Well, let's just eat an apple. Yeah, this is why we have spellcasting training this whole time, no matter what. Okay, yeah, air magic is increasing faster than charms would be. It's another shadow creature here. Ooh, that is an artifact mace, looks like. Probably not as good as our flail. I'm gonna hazard a guess, but there's so many things lying here on the floor. That's funny. Yeah, I think that's all we need. Fire Dragon armor is a reasonable source of fire resistance. Let's see if we even get a... It is nutritious. They have gotten rid of contaminated flesh in the next patch, in the next trunk version, rather. Let's just read the scroll to identify. I don't want to get stuck. Huh. The cursed +7/+6 mace of no interval. Crushing and plus invisibility. So, this is 14. This is also 14. Plus 10 versus plus 8. Seems good. We lose 5 armor class. We'll hang on to it. We'll probably switch over once we get a little more defensive capabilities. Once we get deflect missiles online, I think we can switch over. I think we can get rid of our armor class at that point. Things are going to have a tough time getting to us to inflict. I mean, things aren't going to be in range of us for very long, basically. Things aren't going to be in melee range of us for very long. And I'm not concerned about things shooting us with arrows if we have deflect missiles. Distillery. Nothing here. Oh, potion heal wounds. Let's pick that up. We don't have one of those right now. A couple of them. Good. That's good pickup. I think there were a couple of useful things that we found in shops thus far. I like the fact that the Vaults has a number of shops scattered throughout. There's a new god in the next trunk version that is based entirely around gold treasure stuff. Seems really cool. Very unique. I like it when that's a good shadow creatures right there. I like it when they add things that are completely new. I mean, it's nice when they just balance things and tweak it properly. But I also really like seeing how new things impact the game. The last god they added was Dithmenos, which I think is a great addition. Non-spellcaster assassins, like stabber type characters, really needed a buff, and Dithmenos provided them with one. The Shadow Step ability is really strong and exactly, I think, what they needed, considering that stealth is a lot weaker than it used to be. Yeah. Okay, so our air magic just got to level 2 after all that experience. How is deflect missiles doing? Still abysmal. I'll put one more level into air magic and then go back to charms. A lot of these things we're not even looking at because I know that there's no way that they're going to be as good as what we're using. Or in the case of chainmail, it might be awesome chainmail, but we can't cast spells in it. So, fighting at level 14, that's good. Got us an extra hit point. Every little bit counts. I have survived at 1 hit point frequently enough that I don't knock it. As long as something isn't aware of me, I don't mind moving towards it. That's why a little bit of stealth is nice. Again, it's not as strong as it once was. Used to be, you could just start training stealth at level 1 and just get to the orb without ever killing anything. I exaggerate slightly, but not a ton. We have 4 spell levels now. I really do think I may memorize that Bolt of Magma right as soon as I get the spell levels for it. The Orb of Destruction is awesome. Long range, death bomb, whatever. What's the range on this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is super long range. It's so good. I don't know. We're still not there yet. We don't have the spell levels for either, so not going to count our chickens. Oh my, this video has gotten quite long. Fortunately, we're almost done with this level. And we will be able to stop while assuaging still my OCD. Actually, I mean, there's a practical purpose behind more or less clearing a level before you save, and that's because if there's if there are monsters roaming around, it's nice to have taken care of them so you don't take 2 steps and die as soon as you resume your game. You snuck up on that whole room of stuff. That's really cool. This is one of those rooms where if we were a lot weaker than we are, oh, piffle. I hate item destruction. I'm so glad they're getting rid of it. Cool. Yeah, iron shot back down to 4%. That's good. Yeah, we're pretty strong. Deflect missiles at 30%. It's getting there. It's getting there. What if we turn on charms? We just reach breakpoints in spellcasting, conjurations, and fighting, so I'm not too worried about it. Just being a trickle. What if we... No, let's not focus charms. That seems like putting too little into our offensive spells there. I really want to just keep conjuring on for the entire rest of the game. / until it's maxed out. A ruined Morning Star actually could be... strictly worse than our flail. Okay. If it had been enchanted in some manner, that would have been kind of cool. A lot of ogres. Ogres, I think, are just one of the best balanced enemies in the game. Like, they eventually become kind of trivial, but for a good portion of the game, like even now, like we're really strong. AC 35, evasion 25. I've still seen us get chunked by a... Well, granted, it was a 2-headed ogre, not just a regular ogre. But I just feel like ogres are appropriate for every point of the game. Like they're a good check on your they're a good check on your equipment and your defensive capabilities in general, spells, equipment, etc. Because they hit hard, but they're not very accurate. Okay, I'm going to drop our shield off, and I think that's the only shield and then a scroll or two, and that's the only stash work that I really want to do. I have become quite tired, which is why I recorded this video in the first place, was to relax a little bit before bed. And so that and the fact that it's an hour long, I think it's reasonable to end the here. So thanks for watching. I hope you like Granite Grant. I definitely like him. I'm going to be recording some with him in the future, although it may be some time before I get the chance to play to any length. We'll probably just have a few videos sprinkled out here and there. Studying for the bar exam is eating up a lot of time that I would rather be spending doing fun things like this. But such is life. I will still get to play a little bit, so hopefully we will continue on with Granite Grant. I really want this guy to be a post end game, like an extended end game juggernaut. I really want to take down a ziggurat with this guy. That's my goal. So hopefully we'll get there. Thanks for watching, as always. You guys are great. I appreciate your viewership and all that, and I will see you next time.